This is our Nature Journal Educator Forum. If it's your first time here, this is an open discussion forum on relevant issues in nature journaling. And we've got educators all around the world. There are formal classroom teachers. There are informal educators. There are homeschool parents. And there's this is sort of where we're developing sort of figuring out our best practices for how to teach nature journaling. Today, we're going to be taking a look at the idea of online learning and what seems to be working, what is not working. And we're going to try to glean from as many practitioners as we can here your experiences about this. And the thought that it would be interesting just to start with, hold on. Excuse me. Excuse me. I thought it'd be interesting just to start with playing a little bit with technology and just sort of resources and tools about how to teach this. And so just some practical logistics. I get a lot of emails from people about saying, I'm trying to teach my own online classes. I notice, you've got, different cameras and things, and how do we go about that? And I thought it would be useful for us to share some of those ideas. Thought perhaps just to get us going, I'll show you folks some stuff that I use and that I found, and some kind of different kind of cost ways of doing that. And then hear from other folks. And then let's also kind of get into, other aspects of, what's working in terms of, some people, everything is a didactic lecture where you're watching it. Others are participatory. Others are you learn something and then you go away and you come back. We can talk about those different formats. We can talk about, so anything that has been a challenge for you in this online environment, let's bring that up and play with it. Anything that has really been working for you in this online environment, let's share all of those best ideas. But to get us started, I just wanted to show you a few of the tools that I'm finding useful. And one is, so the screen that you're looking at right now, that is on my laptop, right? It is the built-in camera on my laptop. You get a similar effect if you have a webcam perched on the top of your laptop. So some sort of face-to-face thing, something that is really interesting about this COVID environment is that we're learning that people really like to interact with each other. And if you're able to at least sometimes see the face of the human being that you're interacting with, especially in our COVID isolation, it's really, really nice. I know for me, I love it when people leave their cameras on, because then I get to look at their faces. And otherwise you're like in a vacuum and you just made a bad pun and you're wondering like, yeah, this is rough. So something that shows your face is, I think, very, very useful. It's also useful to be able to show your piece of paper. And, oh, hold on a second, I'm gonna grab something out of my closet. No, I'm not, because it is not here. I have a phone, and the phone has a camera that is built into it. I want to show you a low-cost way of, if you do have a phone, all right? This is the phone cam, right? So this level of, oh, let's turn it this way. This is my phone, and you look, it actually does a really good job of here zooming in on something or zooming out on something. I have a little mini tripod that I thought I was going to go over there and grab, but I have no idea where I put it. It may be out in my car. But so if you can get your phone and attach it to a tripod, that's great. And this connection between my phone and your Zoom screen is done with a free program. It is, I'm going to show you my screen. Whoa, look at that. Inception. Wow. It's a free program. I'm going to bring this up. It is Re-Incubate Camo. Re-Incubate Camo, Re-Incubate Camo, Re-Incubate Camo, right? And so Re-Incubate Camo Studio is a program that I have on my laptop. It was a free download. And then I uploaded the Camo software also to my phone, also free. So there's a free program on your computer. There is a free program on your phone. And then I'm going to jump back to this cam. I just have a power cable that connects the same thing that I used to charge the phone. And that is all you need to, you just open the Camo Studio on your laptop, you open it on your phone, you connect them with a cable, and your phone is now a document camera. So if you put that on a little tripod, you're in good shape. So that program is free. You notice when we were on Camo, there used to be a little logo in the corner that was saying Camo. That was just something that whoops, I didn't mean to do that. I meant to do this. So if you don't want the watermark that says Camo, you can buy their sort of more expensive version. But one with the little watermark in the corner that says Camo that's free. So that's a really easy way to do it. Another tool that I have is a document camera. And this is the IPEVO VZR. IVEPO is the name of the model or the brand, and the VZR is this model. And it connects through a USB connection that powers it and gets the message to the computer. So I plug in this USB, and whoa, here we go. So that is here, and let me rotate this. There we are. So that is with this camera, and you can bring the camera down closer, or you can bring the camera back further, and you're able to do a live demonstration on that piece of paper. All right. So that is the IVEPO thing. Another thing that you can do with your phone is to, let me go back to, FaceTime. So if you are hosting a Zoom meeting, you can go into your Zoom meeting and connect to the Zoom meeting through your phone and also a laptop. So you can have both of those running at the same time. And that is, uh, that's useful, right? So you can then be able to switch to this other thing. If you wanted to run outside, you would be then taking your phone out. I have found that there's like this weird thing that I haven't figured out how to solve yet with feedback from the telephone. I know I should be able to turn one of those off, but I have not yet been able to figure out how to do that. But I'm sure that there's somebody here in this community um, that has figured that out. So that way it allows you to kind of run around with your phone and you can kind of do other things there. So the document cameras allow, so this view allows people to interact with your face. The document camera allows you to have both a phenomenon. So you could have like a vegetable and be slicing the vegetable in front of people and opening it up and that works. And then be able to be drawing live there in front of folks. So those are a few of my favorite things with the technology. Want to just let's just sort of start with tech and see if there's any other tech solutions that people have or questions that people have about tech or the so Lindsay, could you tell folks about your document cam? You got one for $60
Yeah,
and it does a good job.
it's off Amazon. And I don't know how much was yours was, and where did you get yours? Mine, I don't really like supporting Amazon too much, but I did get it off Amazon for last spring when we were all forced to remotely teach real quick. And it has its own little, however you want to put it, and then it manually, like, you can kind of choose where it goes. You manually zoom it in, like you have to, or if you really want to zoom into your paper, you would manually bring it down. Versus I think some of them, and maybe yours does it, you just push a button, it zooms in automatically.
Sometimes
But
that works and sometimes it doesn't on mine.
yeah, and then it's got like a button on the top that's like focusing, which really helps because sometimes, and it helps to orient like which way you're writing, because you could be upside down for your students, because I've done that. And it's just a simple USB, and then once you plug it in, it talks to Zoom, and you just have to change your camera to whatever this thing comes up as. So
Right. Thank you.
yeah.
Yeah. So are there any other tools that people have? Somebody's asking about digital microscopes. If anybody has, I've experimented with a few and found them just so clunky that I gave up on them. But if anybody has any thoughts on that, we would love to hear. Any other? Amy. Amy's got something to share here. I'm going to spotlight you.
All right. I was not able to get a document camera at the beginning of the fall because they were sold out. And the ones that were available were like 3 times the normal price. I said no. So what I found was on my computer, there's like a little whiteboard program so that I could just draw on it. Like I have a laptop that has a pen and I can draw on the screen, or you could even use any kind of draw program on your computer. And so I kind of use that instead of trying to hold up, my notebook to the screen and draw on it so kids can see. I'll just use a drawing program and share my screen and use that for like demonstrating what I might do in my nature journal for something.
And are you then drawing on a mouse pad or are you drawing with a stylus?
I'm drawing with a stylus, but it would work any way that you need to do it.
Great. That's a very good practical tool. Just sort of along that line, something that I'll kind of get something else kind of booted up here to share with everybody. Does anybody else have other thoughts and ideas about tech to share? Laura, I'm going to bring you up, and then we're going to go from Laura then to Marcia. Laura, good to see you. You are muted.
So I mean, if you wanted to let me share screen, I could share what I've got. So I have an old Elmo TT12 document camera that we had in the closet after we updated the classroom one, and I've been using it. And at one point you could get them for about $100 off eBay. But it does have a really nice zoom feature, and I use it for looking at things close up in class normally, and I used it today in
Great.
class.
You are now able to share a screen if you want us to show us what that looks like.
All right. So this is not perhaps the aren't I all right? It's asking me if I want to unmute. I don't understand why, but okay. So here is we were looking at mixtures and pure substances, and so this is perhaps not the best example, but you can go. It's sitting on a whiteboard that has a lot of scratches on it. So,
oh, there it is. No, that.
So you can get really,
sharp.
really close. Yeah, and we've done it with. So.
Ooh.
Leaves. I don't know if it can. It probably. I've done it with sand and soil. We've looked at to see what's in soil close up. So we have Brock scopes, which are only 4x, 10x, but this actually can give you a better. I don't know. Actually, I have no idea what I guess I could use your scaling and we could figure out what the scale is. But yeah, so it looks like they probably are a little more expensive, but this zoom feature, this is much better than any digital microscope, affordable digital microscope I have found. But yeah, it lets us make observations very close up and share our drawings. And we've, I say our drawings, I'm still trying to figure out how to get them to share their drawings with me. But you also can use your camera as a document camera by setting it up so it's balanced on, you stick it out on top of something. So like even cans, you can just stack up cans and you can put your phone on there, and then you put another can on top to keep it from flopping over. And then it will, you can use the camera on your phone as a document camera.
That's really cool. I know there are also some attachments that allow you to sort of increase the level of magnification on your phones as well.
Yes, I have lots of lenses. Some work better than others, but yeah. So.
Excellent. So yeah, any that you'd recommend?
I think it really depends on what kind. There's a lot of universal ones. I think that you probably can get better working ones if they are if you have an iPhone. I don't. But I do have one that is at least really wicked looking. It's I just got it. It's Copedic, and it actually comes with a little tripod that's crappy, but it has a telescopic lens as well. So you got to have it support the right support, or your
It'll wobble.
phone just kind of flops over. But it was not expensive, but it was from Amazon. So I haven't gotten that far in terms, because I have the document camera, so I just kind of stick with that.
Great.
But
Those
I want something I
very,
can take outside.
those are
when it gets
very,
warmer.
very helpful strategies. That's great. While you were talking, I thought of another sort of way of presenting that I will sometimes use. So if you are now looking at a Photoshop screen, so I have Photoshop, or if you have a any kind of drawing program on your computer, then what you can do is, you cannot use the brush tool because the layer is, hold on a second. There we go. So if I want to draw, right now I'm getting kind of a lag, and I'm finding that when my screen lags, if I save, I'm just going to call this desktop. So this is desktop untitled, that's fine. Sometimes if I, what's going on here? Let's try this again. I'm going to just try to save, and I'm going to save it. And it's wanting to do, I want to save it as a Photoshop file, and then I'm good. All right, so so I'm getting a big lag here on my screen. I don't know why that's happening today. Other times when I've tried this live, I haven't gotten that, but that is, well, here, okay, now it's back. So you know, I can block in the shape of my birdie, and then I'm going to make a new layer. I can make that faded and bring in a new layer and draw on top of that. And I'm getting a really crazy lag. So I think I'm going to give up drawing here on my screen. For some reason, it's not. I think I probably have too many programs open on my computer. I have a computer that likes to, well, so basically will implode when I have too much stuff open, and I think I probably have that happening as we speak. So that's one way of doing it. Also, I'm going to stop this share. And if I, there is a, let's see, where is it? I am going to, let's say I have, actually, I'll bring up another thing in a moment. But in the meantime, let's jump to somebody else who's going to share a cool thing or a strategy for sharing things online. If you,
Okay, I'll go ahead and then.
Marsha,
good-
thank you so much.
Yeah, good thing, because you know I have to buzz off or zoom off pretty soon. So I have this tripod that's awesome. I just saw it. This is years ago, and you can still get them. It's called a Joby. I think that's how you pronounce it. You can wrap it around things and hang it and do crazy stuff with it. And when I bought it, I didn't have a specific reason. I just went, oh, I think that's going to work for something. It is so fantastic because I can lower it, higher it, etc. So this is a Joby, I think. Yeah. All right. And then I had spent more than enough money to get set up to work online. So I was over getting the you know, equipment and some of it was out of stock. This was $10 to hold the phone to go over my paper.
Oh,
And it's again, Saji, Saiji. And this turns and this clips on to the end of my desk or my drafting board. I can move it up. It's been fantastic, but I'm really thankful about your program today because for the phone, I was using Epoch Cam. They were bought out by another company a bit ago. I went to use it here with my cable too, or wireless, and it didn't work. So the new companies didn't attach to the app the right way on the screen. They had to work with me over an hour or two and it hooks up to OBS, online broadcast system, which is phenomenal, but it's really for a lot of more in-depth work sometimes. So I'm going to try to switch then. Because the OBS just is distorting. If anybody's using Epoch or Epoch to their, back and forth, it's distorting the drawings. They're the new app, the company but they're working on it. But I'm going to try switching. I'll use it, but if I want to draw like a square, it will look like something else on the camera, on for the computer, when I put the thing up, or if it just is distorting things. So anyway, so those are my two little devices that were not super expensive. And
yeah, your Joby is the same kind of tripod that it was maybe is in my car. That is one that I wanted to see, and that Saji is something that I've been looking for. I've been trying to find something just like that. So that's really cool.
Yeah, it's awesome. $10, I think. I mean, I don't know. I bought this last fall or last spring or whenever it was. So I think it was in the fall. Yeah. So
Great.
Anyway, and I'm sorry to have to zoom out but I teach at 12:40, so I'll be saying adios soon. Okay.
Marcia, it's always a pleasure to see you, and thank you so much for sharing those tips and ideas.
And thank you to all of you.
Absolutely. So here's the other thing I wanted just to show folks. So this is a keynote presentation that I put together for drawing birds, and something that is very useful to do when you are sharing a screen. I don't know. So when you guys are looking at my screen, do you see the little bar that says mute, stop video, security, participants, all those sorts of things?
No.
No, you don't. Okay, so I've got a little control bar that when I'm sharing, that this thing pops up. And one of the things on it is this thing that says annotate. And if I click that and select draw, I'm now going to go over to my drawing tablet. And what I can do is I can say to somebody, all right, here's the ball of the head of your bird. Here's the ball of the body of the bird. Right. And, notice that the eye and the beak line up. So if you go right down the middle of the beak, the eye sits right on top of that line. And you don't want to end up with this kind of, snowman bird looking thing. So we're looking at the angles that connect these balls together. And that's kind of how you can carve out the body of your bird. So essentially what I'm doing is I'm drawing on top of the photograph. And the thing that's allowing me to do this is built into Zoom. So if I wanted to, I could also, I'm now drawing just with my my finger on, not using a stylus on a board, but this is here's a ball of the body. I'm just using the trackpad on my mouse and the little ball of the head, and you can kind of get the idea of what's going on. I find it's a little bit harder for me to draw with my finger, but this is also another thing that is useful if we're doing a presentation. If I need to clear these, by the way, there's a little button that says clear, and I can clear all my drawings. And we go back to this. So when you are sharing things in a presentation, you can also draw on top of those. You may find that you want to turn off participants' ability to draw on them. Otherwise, what's going to happen is once the kids figure out that they can go into that annotate thing, you'll just sort of start seeing all these little lines kind of appearing like this randomly as you're, and like, somebody will be doing this off in the corner because they're just there. But it's not that there's any malicious intent. They're just going like, hey, what does this do? Oh, look at that. Oh, that's fun. So, so just be aware of that, and you can change the diameters of the lines that you're doing. If you want to say, like, here's the ball of my head, right? So this is just another kind of look that Zoom has. Again, I'm just drawing with my finger on the trackpad here, but that's useful for us as nature journaling educators when we want to draw on our screen. I'm now going to clear all my drawings, and I'm going to stop my share. Let's see what else. Billy Joe, good to see you. And you are live.
Hi. So we've been doing a couple things. So the interesting thing is I've never taught nature journaling outside of it being online. So this is like really kind of funny. So sometimes we do it just with the computer. So we're not allowed to use Zoom in our board. We either have to use Microsoft Teams or we have to use a Google platform like Google Meet. So we're sort of we're restricted in terms of like what we can and cannot do. And there's a big difference between Google Meet and Teams. So we were given, so we have these like little tripods, like selfie sticks. So we use them for a multiple of things. And so I use this one as my document camera, and I stick my phone up and into here. And on a Google Meet, I'm able to call in. So similar onto Zoom with a second device, and that works pretty well. The only thing that I don't like about it is it doesn't, like, I can't make it shift over. So you can always see like the bottom of the tripod and things like that. So that one that Marcia just showed, like I'm going to research that one because
Yes,
that looks pretty awesome.
that's Saji.
Yeah, and so then we go outside, and so sometimes we go outside, but the kids are where they are. So now I'm using my selfie stick to like go out on sort of a virtual hike, and then we can look at things. So we were given rocket sticks as well, so that we can then have internet. So this works on like a cell phone data, but then creates its own hotspot. And so then I can tap into the rocket stick to be able to get internet while I'm out in the forest. So obviously that depends a little bit on like where we are, depending on how well the internet connection is. But for the most part, it's pretty good. And so they're called MeFis. And so you have to, like, you pay a monthly fee to have it, but I don't pay for it. The school board does. The other thing that
Wait, let me just
yeah.
back up for a second. This is game changing. So there's this thing called a MeFi.
Yes.
You can bring it out, and that creates anywhere you choose to sit down in the forest to nature journal. You are now on a Wi-Fi hotspot.
Yes.
Game on.
Yeah, this was a game changer for all of us because in the beginning, some of us were using data, which we just can't sustain. And so now I can be outside and sometimes do up to 4 hikes in a day. And this is still got enough juice to be able to handle that, which is pretty awesome.
And it's broadband enough to handle your video stream.
Yeah, I mean, depending on the weather, like today it was a little cloudy, so I was a little glitchy, but my voice is coming through really clear. And then if I just kind of stop, So I get to a space, it might be a little glitchy, and then if I stop, then it tends to like catch up, and things like that. But I would say like 90% of the time, they can see everything that I can see really, really well. The other thing that we've done is we've added, this is a macro lens that can add to the cell phone. And so we just clip that onto the cell phone lens, and then that can let us get macro shots. And you can just get these off of Amazon as well. And so they work really well. So it just clips. I'm just going to take my phone out of the case. So it just clips like over top of this. If you have one of these iPhones, it clips over the second one, I think. And then now you have like a magnifier, which is pretty awesome. We've tried the microscopes, but they have to have like their own internet. Like it has gotten too crazy. So we went with macro lenses and those. And then for us, because it's so cold sometimes, we've gone with battery backup chargers. So this charger can do 5 charges on my phone just by plugging in a USB. So I'll plug in the USB, stick it in my coat pocket with my MiFi in there and my phone attached to a selfie stick, and off we go. We've had to get a little creative and create some cozies for our phones as well to try and keep the batteries warm. Last week it was -20 here, so we've had to come
Whoa.
so we've had to come up with like a few things, but you have that, and then you have your battery pack, and depending on how new or old your phone is, you can usually get through a few hikes without even having to plug into the battery. And then we've gone with the wireless headphones so that we can hear everybody, but still have the ports in the bottom of the phone open so that they can be used for charging and things like that. So that's the kit that we're sort of using as we head outside to do stuff. So sometimes we maybe teach nature journaling from a computer, and then we do an extension where we take the students on a virtual field trip outside and then provide them with the opportunity to journal stuff that they're seeing, or sit spots, or however it is that we're doing outside. So those are the tech pieces that are sort of in my kit in the last couple of months.
You have just raised the bar. And also that you're doing it in these extreme conditions this is proof of concept.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome. Like it's awesome. And once you're moving and things like that, like you don't really think about the cold too much. And once you're up in the forest, the wind chill and stuff like that isn't too bad. But I was really surprised. Our January was fairly warm. Like, we were only sort of 0 to -10, and then February came in like crazy, and we had a solid 2 weeks where we were with wind chills at -20, between -20 and -25, and we were all out there at various different places, sort of in within an hour of here, and everybody had good experiences, which was really awesome. So we were pretty stoked about that. So it's good.
Billy Joe, where are you?
Yeah, I just seen that in the chat. Someone said, "Where am I?" So I'm in Ontario, and so if you know where Toronto is, my board is Mississauga and Brampton and a little bit of Caledon. So we're to the west of Toronto, and then if you go a little bit further north, I'm in Orangeville, which is a fairly small town, and so that is where I am doing most of my hikes are in and around the Orangeville area. So I'm a little. Not super in the city and not really rural. It's kind of an in-between space. So yeah, so that's what we're doing. So I just wanted to share that little extra bits.
All right, so let's just review the Billy Joe system one more time. You have this portable hotspot. Let's hold it up and give the name.
Yes.
And
So
brand
it's called
of it.
it's called a MiFi. And so again, it works on, I'm going to try to turn it on just so you can see the screen. So it works off, you have to pay a monthly fee for it. So I don't know if ours is through I think it's done through one of the cell phone providers. So either Rogers or Telus, I think one of those. And then you pay like a monthly fee. So the board pays for that for us. And it's just coming up. And so what it'll do, and I think it can handle 5 devices being attached to it for internet at one time. I think that's the
Impressive.
max that you can do. And so today I did 2 hikes. Oh, it's still thinking. Oh, here it's coming. And I think I had it at full charge, and I think after 2 hikes, I was at like 77% still. So it's amazing in terms of the battery life. So it just, oh, I don't know if it's gonna like do it. Oh, it's not gonna do it. It's too crazy on the screen. So oh, it's through Rogers, and so then it tells me right now that I've got like between 3 and 4 bars, and then that's enough usually to give me like the full amount of bars on Wi-Fi, and then it tells me how many devices are attached to it. So obviously, to make sure that I'm not draining it too much, I just have my one cell phone attached to it. I do have a work cell phone as well, but I keep that just in a different pocket, and I turn off the Wi-Fi. So that's been pretty awesome. Then we have selfie sticks. These ones here like hold it in, and they have a little tripod on it, so you can put it out into the snow. I wouldn't say this is the best one. I think the one that Marsha has is actually probably even better. And I have something similar for my camera, so I'm gonna check and see if I can get a cell phone attached to it. And then again, we have the macro lenses. So this is just like a little clip, and they usually come with like a macro lens, and then they come with a fisheye and a wide angle lens. And they're surprisingly like pretty awesome. So as long as you're holding the item in your hand, or it's a tree and you can stabilize it, you just have to bring it really close, and it's pretty awesome like how well that sort of works out. And then the external battery pack, and again, I think my husband just got this one off Amazon, so that's the name of it there, AUKEY. And so I think it does a max of 5 full charges. And then, well, you won't need this in California, but we did make cozies for our cell phones. So it's got a plastic bag, duct taped, and foam, and it's a way to sort of keep the batteries a little bit warmer. Some people have actually added hot shots to the back of them. So hot shots are things that you open up to put inside your mitts and your boots to keep your fingers and toes warm. You can actually strap those onto the back as well. And oh yeah, and then wireless headphones. So just so you have your ports open. That's the kit.
That's great. So then you've got cables going from your phone to the battery pack and your phone to the Wi-Fi.
Yeah, and no, the Wi-Fi is by Bluetooth, right? Like, so it
By
doesn't. I don't need
Bluetooth.
it. Yeah, so I
Yeah.
don't need anything. It just hooks up, so nothing goes to that. When my battery is dead, then I just take the normal cell phone charger. So it's got the docks in here. I just plug that in, and I keep it in the inside of my jacket pocket, so it's warm against my body, because obviously this will be affected by cold as well. So I keep that in here, and then I just have the cord coming out, and then I'm able to do what I need. And it's a pretty fast charge with these as well. So even if I have to unplug for a few minutes to show them something like really cool, once I bring it back closer to me, I can just plug that in, and then you're able to switch your camera right on the cell phone, so it can be in selfie mode, or you can switch it to give an outside mode as well. Someone asked how long my hikes are. Usually anywhere from 40 minutes to 1 hour, and I would say that 99% of them are an hour each.
Yeah,
is sort of what we're doing. Yeah.
Well, but did you know that you would become our tech guru?
No, but when we started talking about it, I was like, oh hey, I got stuff that I can share.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You got game.
Yeah.
You got game. All right.
Well,
hey.
thank you for letting me share. I appreciate
Well,
that.
no. Thank you. That's why this forum is here, so we can crowdsource best practices. So check it out. Live feed from the woods with Billy Joe. That is ridiculously cool. Now, don't be intimidated by that. We want to hear what everybody else has up their sleeve. Any other tools or tricks that people have that they wanted to share? Let's transfer over to the to part B. So that's our tech portion. So let's think about best practices. So what are there any things that you're finding are really troubling and really difficult in these online things? And also, are there any strategies that you've found kind of good workarounds? Or are there anything that that you're finding works really well. Avea, I want you to talk to us a little bit about building community. Let's first, we're going to jump up to Anne before I put you on the spot with that, because you've been able to do some really beautiful things with that. Let's jump over to Anne and see what she has got there.
Yeah, I was actually going to talk about Ivea and how I'm co-hosting her new sessions on botanical drawing and observation. And we're doing these polls and they're just super popular, right? I mean, everybody says that's their favorite thing, I think. So Ivea is doing a great job of using polls to make it interactive, and they're simple. It's usually a choice of 3 things, and you rank them or you just choose what you think they are. And so polls work well. And great job, Ivea.
Give us an example of the sort of question that is getting kind of a lot of engagement with one of these polls.
Like she'll have 3 pictures of different plants or flowers, and say which of these do you think is in the Rosaceae family, 1, 2, or 3. So people just put that in, and you get a percentage in a minute or so, and then she can talk about it and move on. So she's got 3 or 4 polls each session so far.
Oh, that's fun.
But I can let Ivea talk about it more because she's the expert.
I was going to credit Melinda with that, actually, because she's done that before at her Sunday sessions of the Monterey Bay's Nature Journal Club at the meetings. And usually when she does the polls there, I can't remember the last time what we did, but they're usually asking about like what's working, what's not working, and then different subjects that people are interested in. So Melinda has really got that interactive piece down. And so she was the one who said that it might be cool to do the polls for the questions, so that way people kind of have fun with it. It feels almost like a game show in a way, where you have to figure out which flower from the family that we're studying that day. So there's that. Then let me think what else. Another thing is making sure to have parts of my workshops that are interactive to people. So, and again, this is inspired by Melinda. At the beginning of her, she always has people answer a question in the chat. So I do the same thing with my class. I'll say, name your favorite fruit or vegetable, or what's something really good that you've eaten lately, some way of tying in. And then I'll have parts of the class where people can shout out answers. So like maybe we're talking about Brassicaceae, and I didn't get to do this last time, but I would say, okay, you can just shout out, what do you think is in this family? And give people a minute or so to say. I didn't get to do it last time, but I did it for Rosaceae. And then afterwards, kind of tell people some of the answers. So as involving as many, I guess you could almost say it's like a call and response. So you ask a question and you let people have time to call out answers and respond. So those are just a few things.
That's cool. What you also just sort of in your programs, you've maybe just sort of tell people a little bit about like the vibe of the pencil miles and chill, something that is, I think, kind of really perhaps important for all of us to note is that this community, this place that you've made for people to kind of come around together, and there is an agenda. It's not like we're looking at how to draw water drops. It's a really open forum, but it's become a real go-to place for people to connect with nature journaling. Maybe just could you sort of explain to us a little bit about that, and what you do to set up an environment that is safe and welcoming and beautiful.
I'd be happy to. So one of the things was because sometimes people have trouble with communicating, I wanted to make sure that people felt safe. So writing out that intention and then I think I wrote it into like an official thing that would go both to the invitations and also something I say at the beginning each time. So what I usually say is I welcome people to Pencil Miles and Chill. And then I say that we have no homework, no agendas. Our purpose is to get together. We can work on whatever we like. We can finish up old pages. We can start new investigations, share with each other. But our goal is to draw and chat. And we only have one rule. And that one rule is to be kind to each other, because we all come from different walks of life, all different experiences. not only with our nature journal skills and our art skills, but also in terms of our life experiences. So to remember that and to be mindful of that with each other. And so whenever we get new member, then that's what I always say. And that's our consistent rule, as that reminder, and keeping it like that, short and sweet, helps, I think. And then people can chat with each other. And another thing that I find myself doing a lot more is I will watch the screens, and I'll always have in gallery view so I can see, because one of the things that can be kind of hard about on Zoom, as I'm sure a lot of us know, is that it's hard to know when it's your time to speak, because, if everybody talks at once, then you get like a bunch of noise interferences. So, and that's just natural, that happens. So I don't think people should feel bad about that. But what I'll do is I'll watch the screens, and if I see a bunch of people begin to speak at once, I'll try to keep track of who wanted to talk. And if I notice them getting quiet afterwards, I'll say, hey, so-and-so, I noticed that you were going to say something. So I always try to bring up, if I see somebody about to speak, especially if somebody's a bit more shy. And sometimes I miss people, I try not to, but if you do it consistently enough, then people learn that it's okay to speak and that you want to hear what they have to say. And that helps. So I find that a lot of conversation skills is really what Pencil Mouse and Chills winds up being about, for me, at least, as the facilitator.
And
Does that
you've
answer?
really done a beautiful job with that.
Thank you.
Laura, could I get you to share your thought about the chat storms?
Sure, I was actually writing something else too. So this is not my thing. I got it from somebody in some workshop somewhere. But the idea with the chat storm, so this is for, written interactions, is that if I want a response from everybody, and the polls inside Zoom do not let them type answers, they can only pick things. Then if they answer and it kind of trickles in, then the people at the end up repeating, often very similarly to what other people have answered. So in a chat storm, you have everybody answer the question, but you make sure you tell them, but don't hit return. It takes them a couple of times to figure this out, but don't hit return. And then we say return, and then it goes, and you get all these answers, and then you can kind of back up and you kind of go through them and you can look at them, but you get a much broader set of responses, I think. I mean, I haven't tested it, but that way. So that's one thing that we do. I was also going to I'm writing right now about how we use breakout rooms to share their journal pages, because we started with holding them up, and that didn't really work well. So in the breakout room, we use Google Slides, and they put a scan, which they got from using the camera on their phone, a scan of their nature journal page on a slide. And you can make one image bigger at a time, so we can actually put the whole group on one. And then, so here's 4 different pages, make this one bigger, and they can all look at it at the same time, and then make it smaller, and then you make another one bigger, and you type this, or you could just put them all on different pages. But this is actually a community building thing too, because we worked on it together. How would we do it? I wanted to use Padlet. They freaked out. No, we will not use one more software system or one more program. Like, okay, well, then we have to figure out how to make this work. And so we did it iteratively and took suggestions, and that's what we came up with, is using it in the breakout room. No more, only 4 people, because otherwise it was too much. They want, however, to share. They want to change up who they're sharing with, and go. So they sort of set up the rules. So
is it possible to show us one of your Google slide decks, so you can that's kind of what the participant experience would be?
Let's see, it was which day was it? Let's see. And they went back and they made comments on it. Let's see. Oops. It's just going to take me a second to figure out.
So while you're doing that, I'll just sort of check in and see if there's somebody else that can.
Yeah, that would be
to
great.
share. Laura's going to be seeing if she can pull something up. While she's doing that, is there something else, either a strategy or an idea about these sort of Zoom interactions and meetings that somebody else wanted to share, or something to add on to? Let's jump over to Avea.
I just wanted to say, I'm kind of building off. Well, first of all, to again say how awesome breakout rooms can be, because it gives you a chance to just talk in a bit quieter groups. But then also to say that there's one thing about Zoom that I wind up appreciating, even though it can be kind of hard because you have to be mindful of, when are people speaking. It lets people pay a lot more attention to what one person is saying. It kind of makes you pay attention to when one person is talking. And that's one thing I kind of appreciate, because then it makes it a little bit easier to focus. So I just wanted to bring that up.
Thank you. Lindsay, let's.
I said it in the chat earlier, a Moat. So I'm having my students journal in whatever kind of journal they have, and then taking a photo and then uploading it to our assignment on Google Classroom. And I find that when I respond to them as chatting, I don't get too many responses like, hey, you did great. Oh my gosh, I would have never thought of that. And my students are new to this, that we're all learning this together in my class. So one thing I found is Moat. It's a Google extension that instead of typing these responses, you more or less, you voice text them. So it's like you hold down the button or on your computer and you say, hey, that's really great. I love what you did there. So instead of a typed response from me, it's like a verbal, it's kind of like this. You love to see faces, you love to hear that interaction. So sending them a voice note instead of a typed comment has gotten me a lot more replies or interaction with my students.
That is huge to note. So,
and it's free. It's Mote. It's a Google extension. I just downloaded it on not Google, Chrome extension. And it's 30-second. You get like a bunch of 30-second free ones, and then a couple 90-second free ones. But I've not ran out of my 30-second ones. So
excellent.
Yeah.
All right. So we're using Google Classrooms to share images in breakout rooms, and also using Moat to give feedback, MOTE, to give feedback. Very, very useful.
So I've got this if you.
All right, I'm now going to spotlight. Lindsay, thank you so much. And Laura, you are live.
So I don't think there's anybody's name that I need to worry about. So they do analysis, and they have questions that they have to answer on top of it. But this is, so you can just highlight one of the journal pages and make it big. You might have to see things, right? And then you can just make it small again, which is actually really easy because you just have to hit undo. To see individual ones. This one, let's see. This one's pretty, they went and made little call outs to point to and make comments about different things on their on the nature journal. So and then this group, they all came up with different ways. They did it with color. They did text boxes, but every person who answered used a different color.
Ah, yes.
So this is actually, we are using your Nature Journal Connection lessons and stuff from the book. And they got to pick which one they wanted to share. But like leaf A, leaf B, this is the beginnings of doing comparison.
Yep.
And so.
Oh, This is
And then
for-
they also do comments down in the speaker notes.
And so they
Oh.
can get into this, they can edit their own page. Everybody can be part of group 3 there. And
So everybody, I actually have all the slides are on one slide document, and then they that's stuff that they're doing within their group, but then they might be asked to look at somebody else's, but it's still the same document.
yep. So just scroll
Um,
up.
And, I haven't had any problems with people messing with other people's work, but the sharing is set to, if you have a link, and then on our LMS, they have a link to the folder, but it only gives them view access. So they can come back and they can do view access, but they would have to save the link. It's probably, if somebody was being malicious, I'm sure that they could figure out a way to mess with
You've
things.
got a community that you can trust. How do you do those cool little call outs?
Up here under shapes, there's
Call
call outs.
outs.
You just pick them.
Look at that.
You could even, put stars on there or whatever. So, and they voted, they didn't want to do Padlet, so they're going to do their nature journals in Google Slides. They can put backgrounds and make it all fancy and whatever. And then I'm going to use a program called Cami, but it's essentially, it makes a PDF of the slideshow, and then I can write on top of it. But that way I'm not messing with their actual journal.
Yeah.
They'll have their journal, that they'll still have their slide. It'll be fine, it won't have anything. And because my students are future teachers, this can go in their portfolio, and it doesn't have my stuff written all over it. So
That's cool.
my Post-its.
I like that. That's very similar to the idea of using the Post-its to give live feedback to journals that you're looking at without writing on the student's journal. That's great.
But I do have, I can pull it up. One student who has said, I'm using Padlet.
Oh.
And I let him, and they can. I'm giving that option. It's interesting. I have 3 different classes, and their response to this has been very different. If you haven't seen Padlet, it's actually really, really easy to use, but I have to respect the fact that they're, where did he put all the pictures? He's moved them around.
Keith.
Yeah, he's got
Work with us here, Keith.
He's where did all his pictures go? All right, I don't know. Maybe he put all the rubrics separate, because he's shared more than one thing with me. But I don't know where I saw the pictures when I opened it.
Yeah, I saw them.
You can see it. Do you see the apple?
Yeah,
where is it?
a moment. These things popped down, and you're like, oh, look at those.
Yeah, they're comparing 2 different types of fruit this week.
Oh,
I don't know where it went, but
yeah, that's not
anyway,
bad.
it can be beautiful. It's this is a really obnoxious color, but so this was my sort of sample for them. And this is not my nature journal page. It is from someone else, but I wanted to inspire them. So,
Yeah.
And this, you can actually include video in a Padlet. So this is me walking them through how to do this.
That's cool.
And you can do 3 Padlets for free. Anyway, that's it.
Excellent. Excellent. So we've seen a bunch of strategies today for strategies to help us be able to connect with our students online. We looked at some technological fixes for this strange technological world that we educators find ourselves in. And I think we've all got some new tricks up our sleeves. Thank you folks so much for sharing those. Also some thoughts and ideas about creating community, creating more interactive things. We've got moats and breakout groups, and also just kind of community ground rules, and simple, clear expectations that we can all get behind. Really appreciate everybody's ideas and for sharing those with us. Together, we are figuring out best practices and how to teach nature journaling. And thank you so much for contributing to our conversation. Really look forward to seeing all of you again. You can find us next week for our next topic, and I don't have up what that is, but it will be another lively conversation. Also want to kind of highlight something. I've just been in contact with people from an organization called VTS, Visual Thinking Strategies, and they do amazing, crazy, cool stuff with getting people to look at art in the same way that that we look at science phenomena. And there's lots of very relevant crossover there. And we may have a couple of folks from them on that we can learn from. So that'll be another really fun thing to look forward to. And thank you all. Also want to remind folks, there is a Nature Journal Facebook page called How to Teach Nature Journaling. And if would encourage anybody with also like with technological fixes or other sorts of things, let's share a bunch of those ideas that we've put out in this conversation. So if you put some neat stuff into the texts, into the chat box, let's also share some of those ideas there if you are willing to. Thank you folks so much, and really look forward to connecting with you here again.